Here.
Pitts. Here. Schrader.
Here.
Tinderman. Here. Pohl.
Here.
Bowden.
Here.
Andrews.
Here.
Motion, all present.
All right, proof of giving public meeting notice, Aaron.
Yep, proof of public notice was posted at both schools, Central Village, Dickeyville, and Cuba City City Hall, members of media, Tuesday.
All right. And the purpose for tonight's meeting is discussion of programs and services that are being considered for budget cuts for the 24-25 school year. Obviously, all of us wished we were outside enjoying this beautiful weather and not here. So this is the most serious of school board meeting that I think I've ever had in over 25 years. So whatever we discuss tonight, obviously, is with a sad heart, but it's unfortunately what the public told us that we have to do. I know Mr. Olson has met with and or informed many people of, what this might mean to each one of you individually. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Aaron.
Tonight, we're going to go through general lists of all the items that are being considered. So any of the items that are on here, keep in mind that the board might decide to have a minor reduction in this program all the way up to elimination. So that's what we were looking for, the entire list of all the things that are being considered. So if it says reduction or if it says elimination, know that that's a possibility, but it could be from a 1% reduction all the way to 100.
Also, we don't have any public comment tonight, so unfortunately, just listen, please.
We will have a public comment next week as our regular board meeting. So if anybody does want to come to that and speak, everybody that signs up will get 3 minutes. So we put these kind of in bunches of similar things. It started out kind of as a priority list, and we took that word off and just said these are kind of similar items. So the first one is these are purchases or spending that we're not required to make. And then we have an estimated savings. These are estimated that if costs don't go up, this is what we think it would be next year. So the combination of all of these different things. So district cell phones, we have about 6 district cell phones in the district. Athletic equipment and supplies, that was cut a lot this year, would also have another cut next year. I know a lot of people brought up, well, why don't we just cut all freshman sports? Our freshman sports total this year, we spent about $8,000 on that, which is about what we get from one open enroll student. So it's not a big savings in that area. Elimination of all district share of college course payments and virtual courses or regular ed offsite coursework. So some students go to different schools for different classes, or they take online classes that are for college credit. Some were required by law to fund. Some for ECCP, for example, those certain types of classes, we have to fund those up to a certain number of credits. But these are all the ones that we are not legally responsible to have. Technology hardware budget. So that would include primarily, in our school, it's iPads, Chromebooks, laptops, clear touch panels. Those types of things would be hardware things that we're going to carry around or put on a wall. Teacher supply list. Teachers did 2 budgets this year. They did one in case the referendum passed and one in case the referendum failed. The failed referendum was about 30% of what normally they would get. Department budget cuts. So this would be staff professional development, travel, field trips, and any other discretionary spending within certain different departments. Curriculum team resources. Right now we have a curriculum director position that's vacant. We also have 11 curriculum team leads. And we provide a curriculum resource budget. So about every 7 years, each different department gets to look at it and say, what do we need for resources, whether that's technology or whether it's it used to be textbooks, all those types of things, whatever they need to supplement their curriculum. Another thing that some schools have done is voluntary staff cuts. So that would be something, I know the CCA was talking about that today. I haven't talked with them about that, but that would be something that would be available or offered for support staff, certified staff, and admin staff as well.
Voluntary staff salary cuts. For those who can't see in the back.
Sorry.
I think you said voluntary
staff
cuts.
Salary
cuts.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Is that gonna be the same amount if I make 6 figures or not? Like, is the lowest paid person expected to take the same pay?
For other schools that have done that,
Are they supposed to take the same pay cut, or can we do a sliding scale? Because I don't think that that's fair to
Yeah.
ask an admin and a teacher to make the same sacrifice.
because it's voluntary, other schools that have done that have said, what are you willing to, so some people might take a $200 cut, some people might take a $3,000 cut, but since it's voluntary, that would be up to staff. That's how other schools have done that. Okay. We'll move on to the next one, which is staff benefit options. One would be elimination of cash in lieu of insurance. We're one of the few districts in CSA 3 that offers cash in lieu of. That means if you don't take our insurance, if you're married to a spouse who has insurance and you take that person's insurance, then you get cash instead of taking insurance. And there's a possibility of savings there if you just delete that line item. However, if 8 people say, well, now that we don't get cash in lieu of, we're going to take health insurance, it could end up costing. So that's something to keep in mind. Healthcare changes, we did ask our broker to look at multiple different insurance packages, and those are coming in, and we should know those for sure by Wednesday. Suspend all tuition reimbursement for staff. Right now, we reimburse $100 per credit, up to 6 credits in a year for staff. And another idea that was presented is required event workers. So like for ticket sales or different types of responsibilities for after school events, instead of paying those that are at our rate, is work that into a contract. So those are all kind of staff benefit options. Questions from board members? The third list is not filling existing openings. These are currently, or as of Monday, these are the 3 openings that we had. Buildings and grounds director, a math interventionist position, or an elementary school principal position. Those are all open positions right now that we could fill differently or not at all. Those are all options.
Does that include the people retiring?
It does not. No. But that would be an option, for filling positions that we're opening. Yep. We did have another teacher resign today, so that's not on here, but that's something that when we go to closed session, if there are other ideas, we'll present those next week as well.
And we'll be informed of who that teacher
Yeah.
was?
Yeah. Next one, these are programs or services that have multiple staff members, in which by reducing one or multiple, we would reduce the service or programming that's available for students, but it would not eliminate the program entirely. So combined elementary school administrative assistant position, what that means is we do have one of our administrative assistants who's going to be retiring December 31st. And we would look at how we would fill that position or absorb that position. 4th grade consolidation. The reason 4th grade is up here is expected low numbers next year in that grade level. The music department consolidation, we would go from a number of teachers down 1. That would reduce the services and program that we can provide for our students, but it would not eliminate it. Library and media specialist reduction. Again, we have multiple that would, by restricting that, it would still offer the service, but just not as much. Art education consolidation. Same thing, as we have multiple teachers and going down 1 teacher or a part-time teacher would reduce the services and programmings for our kids, but does not eliminate it entirely. Custodial consolidation, going from 1 number down to a lower number. And paraprofessional hour reduction, that's one thing some schools have done, is say, okay, we're not going to have our aides have this many hours a day, we're going to reduce that by a certain number. And 4K consolidation, again, going from 1 number of teachers down to a smaller number. So all of these would allow us to still have the program, but make no mistake about it, the services that we're able to provide would be restricted. We would not be able to provide the same level of service for our students, for sure.
And if there's something, I guess I'll just say suggested that's not up there, do we talk about that now or during closed session?
Is it an individual one, or?
It's a combination of staff.
If it's got an individual one, we can wait, but it could make it next week too. So if it's not on here and it's something that we want to have, we can put it on next week's agenda. Okay, number 5, programs that are not required by law or by DPI that we provide, adding value to students. These would be, one would be our middle school, high school at-risk program, and cutting multiple non-one-on-one paraprofessionals. So if you're looking at cutting a paraprofessional, you can't cut the minutes that we provide to students. So you have to look at IEPs to see how many minutes that we need to provide students. A lot of times that's with one-on-one, that's really difficult to do, but we do have some paras who are not tied directly to IEPs. And then the last one is elimination of an entire program. So these are all items that were brought up or suggested or that other schools have done also. Fitness center director position, the WIN program, which we started this year, and then all CTE programs, which include business program, agriculture, family and consumer education, and technical education. So anywhere from a partial cut all the way up to an elimination. Those are all the programs that we're looking at. All right, so that's our list. Those are our 6. So at this time, I think we're ready to
Just to clarify, if I can,
yeah, you
you have
bet.
some dollar amounts tied to that, but that's for the category that you're looking at.
Yes.
Ultimately, it will be a mix of things. What is the dollar amount because of the failed referendum that we as a community are trying to get to, if you can remind us?
So it's a combination of a couple different things. Insurance numbers, and Baird said they're going to be able to do another estimate. Every time they do an estimate, it's a little closer. The last one they did was maybe a month and a half ago. They were hoping to have that Baird estimate done today. It was not done today, but we hope to have that certainly by next Wednesday. Realistically, we're looking around $1 million.
And that's taking nothing from fund balance.
That's keeping fund balance at our policy of 22. That's what we would need. Yep.
And that's where we're at now, is at 22.
But at the end of this year, we anticipate being under 22, but around that. Yeah, and that
What
number.
that means to the people that probably don't understand it,
What fund balance is?
or what 22 means.
Sure. We have a policy that says that we're supposed to keep 22% of our annual spending. So I'm going to use round numbers, $10 million. Let's just say that's our operating budget for the year. Then we would have to keep $2.2 million in our fund balance. Fund balance is like for an individual, you would say, if somebody says, what's your net worth? That's a combination of all your funds and things of value. All that together, would be a fund balance. So it's not just, we don't have $2.2 million sitting in the checking account. That's the total valuation of all of our accounts, all of our bank accounts and our assets.
And the
Heather, do you have anything you want to add?
reason why it's at 22% is because if we go below 22%, then we would have to short-term borrow in order to make payroll and to pay our bills. So we've seen before when we dropped to 20% or 21%, there are certain months throughout the fiscal year where money gets very, very tight. We know when we're going to we know what months we're going to get money from the state, but I don't know at the beginning of every single year, okay, in December, when am I going to get our big equalization aid payment? And we have 3 payrolls in the month of December. So December is a month that gets really, really tight. So we have our fund balance policy is set at 22% so that we don't have to do short-term borrowing. Short-term borrowing means we have to go to the bank, say we need money in order to make payroll. Borrowing money is not free. That comes at a cost and or an expense to the district.
Righty. At this time, then.
I have another question.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you. Can you walk me through the process of all of the suggestions that went to you but are not being presented in open session? Like, how did you, let me start over.
We'll go through every single one of those, and if there are some that need to be added, we'll certainly do that.
I guess I thought that's why I was doing this, is so that we were telling everyone what we're thinking.
Sure, if you want to ask a specific question, as long as it doesn't ask anything specific about a staff member, I can answer it.
Okay, can we sell a van or other district vehicle? I didn't see that up there. Can we sell the land near the elementary school? Can we combine the athletic director positions into one? You want me to keep going? I'm not trying to be rude, it's
Sure,
just,
I think most of those are answered. There might be some that
I
weren't on
didn't
there.
see them up there.
Right, I had answers on, is that the board one?
That's not on this one, no. I just don't know why they weren't represented up there.
We can certainly talk about that, and if we wanted to add some, we certainly can.
Yes, please.
Conversation about selling district vehicles, I think the reason I didn't put that on there is I think we need those district vehicles very often. All of them are working in session, or will need multiple very often, especially in the spring. So that's why I didn't want to.
But I wanted the board to talk about this, no
Right, so-
offense to you, but
Yep.
like, I sent them to you to give to the board to look at, so we can make a board decision about them.
Yep, we can certainly talk about that right now. Yep. You had asked why I didn't put it on there, so that was the answer to that one. Selling off any vans or land, any comments on that?
I guess at this point, I don't know that selling the vans is an answer, because I guess how are you going to transport whoever gets transported today using them?
We're not gonna,
And
are we gonna have teachers to drive the vans to where they're trying to go? I'm really trying to keep it together, I really am. But like, I'm trying to bring up these ideas, it's like, oh, no, we don't need that. We can't do that.
Lisa, this isn't maybe the time or place for, trying to decide, because at this point, it's going to be the board's decision,
I understand that.
okay?
But I also want the people in the audience to know
I-
that I've thought of a lot of things, and I'm trying my best to do this, and I don't know another time or place to do this, but the board meeting to talk about budget cuts. I'm trying to stay, but
You have outdone yourself here with 2 pages of budget cuts, and I appreciate that, and we will discuss them. And if you feel, and the board concurs, that they should be included in what is seen here, I guess we will do that.
Yep,
Yes, sir.
Lisa did send about 2 pages worth, and I would say probably about a page and a half are probably already represented up there. But yes, she sent a lot of recommendations and things, and a lot of them were represented in our document today.
the other half of the page just didn't make it.
My assumption is all those items are gonna be spelled out in closed session. We'll go through all of them.
But
My
there-
We'll go
concern-
through every one of them.
My concern is some of them will get too identifiable in open session.
I understand that,
So
I'm
I
just
think
saying,
that's why.
the many,
holding
many,
off on some of
many
That information.
that weren't even taken into consideration, like, okay.
Other questions, board? At this time, I will move to adjourn to closed session pursuant Wisconsin statutes 1985, 1C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of School District of Cuba City, specific individual Cuba City, District of Cuba City staff members over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Is there a second?
I will second.
Mueller,
Yep.
White,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Kinderman, yes, Pohl,
Yes.
Bowden,
Yes.
Andrews,
Yes.
motion carried.
At this time, we ask that you all leave. I have no clue how long this is going to take. I anticipate a long time.